were just thinking to have an interview with you, so to ask you some different questions that we can later use for promo, for the label, then when your track is going to release with us, all this stuff.
You can ask me whatever you want. I don't really mind, even if they are not on that list. I haven't even read that last list. I read maybe a few questions.
Okay, good. Perfect. Okay, perfect.
You can ask whatever you want.
Okay, let me start.
Yeah, go for it, man.
So my first question is your name, because it's Reblok. How you get on the name? So what is there a meaning to that?
My alias.
Yes.
Yeah. The thing is, I don't even remember anymore, to be honest, because before this name, my name was Versi. It's like Verse, and I was making psytrance. It wasn't really this thing.
Oh, okay.
So basically, I started with that name 12 years ago, like 2008. And after that, it was like 2010. And that's when I started Reblok. And I don't remember why I put it. I really don't. It's really long time ago. Yeah, it was it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
I was just checked the Discogs, the Beatport, and everything else. And there was no one else with that name. And I thought yeah, this is it.
Nice.
That's nice. I mean, that's good. If you do like the name, it's fine. But I find the name very interesting,
Yeah, it's catchy as well.
It's catchy.
But people also mistake it because they always add C and K at the end instead of just K. They think it's something is reblocked.
Yeah. I can understand. It's very difficult.
Yeah, a lot of them confuses me for Rebuke. Rebuke. You know who Rebuke is? The guy that released on Hot Creations Along Came Polly song.
Oh, you get mistaken an identity in a way.
Yeah. A lot of people they write Rebuke Toxicity. And it's my song, it's not his.
And Google is hey.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. So, basically, who was the biggest influence when you first started producing DJing that you are pulled from?
I think it was Geschaffelstein.
Oh, nice.
If you know who he is.
Okay,
good one.
A French guy who made dark stuff, because I liked also dark stuff in the past. It's a bit a mixture of electro and minimal sound. But the thing is, I don't know how he break through into the completely commercial world with that kind of underground music. I think he had a really good manager. He had really good background. So he managed at the end to make music even with The Weeknd and all of these pop stars.
Yeah.
That would be in a way my goal as well, because I don't think really to stay in tech house or whatever this is now. Because I've been making in the past more than 6-7 different genres. So pretty much now, after 12 years of experience, I think I can make pretty much anything.
Okay. Nice.
So I don't have any borders now of genres. I make literally what I want at the moment. And I was making in the start some dark stuff, but now I'm it doesn't really go that way. You can't sign stuff like that on big labels.
That's true,
yeah. Let me ask you something. How do you feel about right now that most of the biggest DJs and producers are playing your track like crazy? We have Fisher, David Guetta, Oliver, really all of the main top guys are
all of the important ones.
All of the main guys, just playing your song. So how does it feel, man?
It feels really good. Only it's a shame now because there's no gigs. I got shitloads of canceled gigs, so that's bad. But I guess it's the same for everyone, so it's fine. But the thing is, I kind of knew it's gonna come that moment. I thought honestly this is gonna come a lot earlier, but I guess it came in the right time whenever it came. So it all went kind of with the flow. I never forced anything. I've always done 100% of my part that I needed to do in order, you need to do 100% for yourself, and then you need to expect to get lucky with the rest. You need always some extra, some X factor in order to get lucky. Everything goes connected. One release led to one guy, that other guy released me, then some third guy heard me, and it all went literally left and right, but always up. I was never stagnating. It's always going up. So that's really important. And I always had 20 tracks on my PC, always, in every moment, that are unsigned. So I always said you need to have like really a lot of material, because nowadays if you don't have a release month or two, you're gone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
True, yeah.
People forget you, and that's it.
You have to be constantly doing tracks or constantly making something new.
Consistency, and you need to release on really good labels. That's the most important part. If you're releasing constantly on shit labels, nothing's going to change. Everything's going to stay the same.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
True.
Okay. Go for it, man.
I said there was one question was really important for me. What is your advice to producers and upcoming DJs, which actually, what the age is like they're younger, 18, 20, or sometimes a lot younger. And what from your point of view, what do you think it's very important for them if they decide to go in this kind of business or this kind of genre, in any kind of music? What is important? What do you think?
You cannot be a goodie. I can tell you that. You must be sharp. You must look at it as a job, because if you really want to live just from this, you need to be like 100% in it. If you have some side jobs that take away more than 2-3 hours per day, you're not going to make it. Like, I can tell you that like straight away, because you need to be like 100%. I've been grinding for 10 years with this alias now, and I can tell you that in the beginning, I was like literally 5 to 6 hours a day. Yeah. But then I still didn't know to produce like how I know now. Now I need like 2-3 hours to finish a track. I mean, sometimes I need for like 4 or 5 days, but sometimes I can finish 2-3 tracks in a day or two, like easily. Nice. It all depends. Yeah. So the thing is, it's all about experience. If you have shitload of experience, you can finish them. And if you know your DAV, where you make music really well, then you can get it really quickly. But the problem is, people always try, like, the most people I talk to, the more I hear like stuff like, yeah, I want to sound like this guy, like that guy, and I'm like, dude, you're doing it wrong already. Like, people ask me what style, like, people tell me you released on Hot Creations, and they're like, what kind of style do they release? Well, Hot Creations doesn't have a style. Jamie Jones just wants to hear something he never heard before. It's that simple and that hard at the same time. Yeah. So you need to make something so you need to hear something he never heard. You need to give him that, and you don't need you don't need to know him, you don't need to have anything, like, you don't need to book him, like people talk bullshit stories or anything. It's just excuses because they cannot make really unique song. You just need really, really good unique song, and that's it, nothing else. Because he listens to all of his demos, literally all. So if you have like really good stuff,
you're still doing that? Wow.
Non-stop. He replies to every email. Like, I gave to some of my friends emails, like some close ones, and they all got reply. All. And it's not generic reply. He replies like, he tells you your name, blah, 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 and then
properly,
Okay. Very nice. Very nice.
So was like music your first choice then when you got into it, or you were you kind of like forced by your family, or did you get into it by yourself, your first choice by any chance?
No, my family was trying all the time to get me away from this.
Not the only one. Not the only one.
I'm the same, man.
Yeah. They're like, there's no money there. What are you doing? You're wasting the best years of your life, blah, 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 blah. And then it goes like that. But then when I started traveling, having tours everywhere, then they changed their opinion. And then when you start supplying them with the money, then they completely change.
That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, then they're like, just continue what you're doing and everything's fine, That's how it works. Yeah, that's how it works with everything, I guess. And now, also what I would say to new producers, I'm not going to say you have to be rude, but people need to respect your time. Like, if someone is asking you for them to listen tracks or whatever, and they're demanding some feedback or whatever, it's not how it goes. Like, if you get promos from a label, fine, you can choose will you listen or not. But when 20 people a day send you tracks in your inbox or wherever, just can you listen? I'm like, I can't. Yeah. I really can't, because if I do that and I write them their feedbacks, I'd lose 2 hours, maybe more.
Yeah, of course.
And I think
people don't understand that. They really don't. They just, I don't know how to explain. They think that they are the only ones who you need to reply or something. So sometimes I don't reply people up to 2 weeks, and they think I'm angry at them or something. It's simply not. It means that they haven't been enough in this industry. Like as soon as you're grinding 4 or 5 years, you're gonna know when someone doesn't reply you. It can be a million of reasons.
Of course.
You know, they might be busy, they might be hangover, they might be on a tour, it might be not a good moment, you know, it can be a million of things. And people think like, oh, this guy doesn't like me, you know, it's simply not that.
And I think the other thing is when you listen to so many tracks, or you do your own music, and then when you have to listen to other people's tracks, or you take the time to listen to the tracks, then it maybe interferes with your own energy for a track, you know, maybe.
No. I have my own vision. I know I don't cross over other people's sounds to mine. I've decided in the past 2 years, because when I started making music, there was that electro house that was like poppy on the radios. It was popular in between 2006 up to 2010 or 11, like Freemasons and stuff like that. But I like mixture of that sound with a mixture of nowadays tech house, and also some trance sound, stabs and stuff, or on the breakdowns, arpeggios or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So currently I try to make something in between, like really dark track with really cool vocals that are not that dark, because I like to have balance. Like that is not completely dark or too hard. Like, so I like to make like a mixture always, because so that it can work well on the dance floor and that it can work well on the radio as well.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing now, like a crossover stuff.
Yeah. Okay, nice.
We want me to?
Yeah, go for it, man.
This is what I wanted to know. But how do you interact with your crowd? Like, say you have a big gig, and how do you interact with the people? Because every DJ is different. Some DJs are rather jumping around and dancing. Some I don't. Some I just have, you know. So how you doing this?
A lot of people tells me like, oh man, you have too much serious face when you gig. Like when you are like in the crowd, like meeting people or something like that, or in the backstage, you're laughing nonstop. But when you start playing, you're like, you're gonna kill someone. It's simply I'm simply my face. Like, I don't feel angry inside of myself. It's simply how music drives me, because I mostly play stuff like that. A lot of people tell me like, oh man, this stuff of yours sounds so horny. Well, that's how I feel when I make it as well. Like, that's it. Like, I like dark stuff.
Yeah.
And it needs to be, you know, it needs to have something by which you will remember it. Simple.
Okay, so
yeah, I dance a lot.
Huh?
I dance a lot. I dance a lot when I play. It also depends from the atmosphere. But to be honest, I like more some dark, tiny clubs with really low ceiling. I like that.
Proper underground.
Proper underground. Yeah. People are like crowded together.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's nice.
And how do you like cope with your lifestyle? Because I mean, apart from this corona, which is like horrible right now for every one of us, and especially for like producers and DJs, you know, your tours are getting cancelled and stuff, and so is other DJs as well. But like, if this wasn't the case, then how do you cope with this? Like your schedule. Let's say you have to fly from somewhere to a different time zone, and like, how is that really hard for you in terms of?
It really depends. When you're flying somewhere else, like when I went to my South American tour, went to Mexico, the thing was, they always book you 1 or 2 days before that you come, before the first gig that starts there, so you can get adjusted. Like, no one's gonna book you on that same day when you have to play. You don't even know how much hours is it. You don't know how much you slept. You don't know anything. So there needs to be at least 1 day so you can adapt.
Okay.
And you will have to force yourself to go to bed when you really shouldn't be going, but that's the only way, because if you don't have enough sleep, you're not going to be performing well. Also, I insist on not playing more than 2 consecutive gigs in 2 days.
Okay.
Like I could play 3 gigs in one country on the same day.
Okay.
I could do that easily, but like playing 3 gigs in 3 days in a row and not sleeping 3 days in a row, that's fucked up. Yeah. Like, that's really fucked up, because the third gig, I can do well the first one, but the third one is going to suffer shitloads. I'm going to be literally like a dead body behind the decks. No. So, you know, but if that's cool to promoter, I don't really mind.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Let me ask you, I wanted to ask you because I wrote this down, it was very important. So, what is your craziest fan experience where you say, oh my God, I never forget this?
Well, in Mexico, when I played in one club in Mexico City, well, it's a city of 25 million people. So when I had the tour there, I was playing like in the first 2 weeks, like around 8 gigs in 2 weeks. And there was no a single person who was on more than 1 gig of mine. And it's all the same city. So there was always different crowd, completely different, because it's so huge. And the clubs are on completely different parts of the city. There was one girl, but at that time I had a girlfriend from Mexico, so she was going everywhere with me. And there was one girl who came in front of me, literally, like it was small, one of the smaller clubs. At that time, it was popular minimal techno. So I was playing that, and that's when I released my first album on Italo Business label, like 10 years ago. And that girl literally just came like this, and just out of her top, just took the bra, leaved it on my mixer, and she was like, yeah. Just fucking turned around, leave. My girlfriend just came, looked at me, took that, dropped it like below the table, and she was like this, you know.
You're lucky, man. Didn't get beaten. You're lucky.
Yeah, like she, but later on she did understood. But you know, I guess it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was my first gig, if I remember well, like the first gig in Mexico City, and that's when I needed to play 2 hour set, and I ended up playing all night. It was like from 11 till 6 a.m.
Wow.
And I think that happened somewhere near the end, like at 5:30, something like that.
Oh, okay.
Like 5:30 or something like that. It was like completely destroyed people back then, you know. It's like almost for the after party time, and everybody was so wasted.
Yeah.
And then was that girl, just like this, and just dropped it. And just turn around and leave.
Yeah.
I was like, fine.
Nice.
I love it. I love it.
So like, I have another question for you here. How did you, like, in terms of production and technique, how did your workflow happen? Like, how did you come up with your workflow in terms of a production?
I have two ways. I need to have a good bass line, or I need to have a good vocal. If I don't have neither of those, I'm not even starting to make a track. Because if I have a good vocal, I can make a whole track around it completely, like in 1 day, but maybe even sooner. The thing is, if I have a good bass line, also it can work really well. Then I start with the synth that can work well with the bass line. But usually in the past year and a half, I only use vocals. I really like vocals. If I have a good vocal, then I have a whole track in my head, like straight away, and I just go and do it.
Okay.
Like the vocal is the main part for me now, because that's the thing by which people remember your track. If you don't have a vocal, it can only work in the club, and that's it, done. No one's going to play a track without vocal on radio.
Of course, yeah. Yeah. Do you like find your own vocals or hire like vocalists, or do you like chop it sometimes in terms of production?
When I do edit of some famous song, then I also ask my manager to clear that, but it takes months.
Yeah.
So sometimes I've done 4 or 5 edits, and they were all played by Fisher. But at the end, the only ones that got signed was one. That was the Britney Spears Toxic stuff. And there was other one that Spinning also wanted to take, but we're having problems now to clear it. It's from Gwen Stefani, Rich Girl. So that one as well I've done. It's really good one. They want it, but I don't know, shall we get like the clearance? Because she said she doesn't want to give it. So we're now trying something else to see what's going to happen.
That Gwen Stefani, she's there with Interscope, as far as I know, and I think that might be the problem. As far as I know, she's with Interscope, and they are, really not easy to clear, as far as I know. That maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. We tried, so I don't really care if they don't. I mean, I have anyway like one more release on Spinning. It's original, so I'm going to see what to do next. Also, right now, I'm trying to do something with Oliver Heldens on his label. We're working around 3 tracks. He's helping me to get there what he wants.
Nice.
So I'm going to see what's going to happen. Yeah, it's not yet like 100%. I need still to see like next week what's going to happen, if it's going to happen, but because sometimes people, when you work with them, like those big names, they can change their mind in a day. And they're like, they can be 1 month like, oh yeah, this is good, this is perfect. And then after 30 days, like, not really anymore. So they're going to sign it like the same day when you send it, or they're not going to sign it almost at all. It's like, the only different time it was with Jamie Jones. Like when I sent him, I sent him in January, Smile, plus 20 other tracks.
Mhm.
Like, and he told me 3 months after the first reply, I want this one.
Yeah.
Can you please keep it? And then I was like, it's good that I haven't signed it elsewhere because now it will be gone.
Yeah.
And so the thing is, I saved it for him. And the thing is, he said afterwards, like, yeah, this is really good. We're going to take it, but you need to do some edit of it. Like, and then he sent me complete edit. Like, he edited complete track from my MP3, how he wanted the track to sound. So I had to edit it by that MP3, sent him again. That's when he accepted. And then he told me, like, okay, now we need the B-side for the EP. And that's when I also had, like, at that time, I had more than 35 unreleased tracks, unsigned ones. So I sent him everything, and he chose just that one.
Okay. You were very quick with making tracks, as far as
Yeah,
I say,
yeah. I make them, like, really, really big numbers. But for these past 3 months, I've made only 2. I wasn't really motivated.
Because of Corona, right?
Yeah, there's no gigs, there's no nothing. I was like, fuck it, I'm not gonna be making anything. It's just like a break.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but let me ask you something. You will release one of your songs on our label, the Sin Records, in August. And beside that, are there any other ready tracks which you're gonna release in the next, let's say, 1 or 2 months?
Oh, there's too much. I don't even know, honestly. My manager is handling that part, so I don't even know where.
You have a lot of release coming up.
Yeah, there's like one on Black Soul Recordings. That's like a friend of mine that's doing publishing for me. That's gonna be now soon. There's one on some new label from Italy, Bella Records, if I remember well. It's like their second or third release. There's on your label. There's on Freaking 909, but I don't know when. There's on Spinning, Realm from Gorgon City, Club Sweat, and if this thing clicks with Oliver Heldens, it's gonna be everything full until end of November, probably.
Okay.
Very nice. Very nice.
Because I saw your, I keep listening to Hell Deep Radio as well. I saw your name there because Oliver is actually supporting you a lot. I can already see that, playing your tracks on the radio and stuff. So when you told
he did already. Yeah, he played like already 4 or 5 tracks.
Yeah, very good, man. Congratulations.
Yeah, the same with Fisher, because I see you playing and jumping around all the time.
Yeah.
He likes your track too much.
Yeah.
He's just up with your tracks, you know?
Yeah, I know, because I started making something that no one is making at the moment. That's the whole thing. Like, I jumped outside of the box and I combined 2 genres, and the only 2 guys that are making something like, let's say, close to my sound, but not really the same, are maybe Eli Brown and Mason Maynard, but like, those are the only 2 names that come to my mind that are making something like similar.
Yeah.
But no one else. I haven't heard anyone else combining this now.
Okay. So
if I heard more people going into this thing that I'm doing, I definitely jump off straight away and I'd start doing something third. Because I don't want to have lookalikes.
Yeah, you want to be there in terms of competition.
Yeah. Because those people don't understand. They copied those big names, and those big names didn't become big names because they copied other people. They made something of their own. And that's the whole point. People don't understand that.
No.
Okay. Go for it, man.
Just I wanted to ask, DJing or producing, which is for you? I mean, both are relevant in your life, but from which you have more. What do you like more from both of you? You like more playing or you like producing tracks?
Honestly, playing, because it's a lot easier. Because when you make track, you need to be sober. You need to look what you're doing. You need to listen. You need to send the people the feedback. You lose a lot of nerves. And then you're like, if you spend a lot of time on a track and it doesn't work, at the end, you're like, the fuck did I do? You know, I lost 2 days on nothing. And then you need to go all over again. And then, like, if the label is really picky or you're working with some really big name, then they ask you 20 times to change tiny things, and then you literally lose your nerve. I have really short fuse, so I don't tolerate much of that crap. I try to, but sometimes I'm just like, I can't, like, fuck this shit. It can be the biggest name in the world. I'm not going to do it, you know, because Yeah, definitely playing, because it's much more relaxed. Like, I don't really mind much. I just relax and play what I want, and that's it. But when you produce, you're alone in your room, and you have to be alone. There cannot be more people. It's a distraction. I even unplug my internet when I'm producing, but because otherwise I'd be alt tabbing nonstop on the tape.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, you have to be distracted completely. Like, it's just that zoned out. There's no other way, honestly.
I mean, I see that he's producing too. We have other producers, but I'm just asking generally, how is it when you finish a track and you think, oh, it's finished, but then you say, oh no, I have to change this again. I have to change this again. Maybe
No,
I do this,
no.
You're gonna get crazy.
When it's finished,
sometimes
it's
they're doing
finished.
this. Producers do that, you know.
I know, but I never get back to a track. If it's done, it's like done. I don't touch it anymore. Okay. Yeah, I try to do it from one go, like 2 hours, 3 hours, 6, 10 hours. But I try to do it in one go, and that's it. And then I send to a feedback, and if someone gives me feedback, like on the technical part of the track, like this is really too loud, or this is, then I change that. But if they tell me like they don't like the idea or something, I'd never change that, because I don't really care what others think about my ideas. That's my part, you know. You can tell me on the technical part, I can see that as a mistake, but idea part, there's no mistake. I wanted it like that, and I'm not going to change it.
Yeah, of course.
It's simple as that.
This is your stuff. Yeah, this of course.
Yeah, but also, if one really huge label tells you like, I want this, and this changed, and we're going to take it, we're going to sign the track, of course, then you're going to change that. But it's usually not some big stuff. It's like tiny. But you have to be flexible. You cannot really be always like, no, I'm 100% like I want it like this, and like, you know, I'm not going to change it for anything. You can't work like that. You need to be flexible, because then the label is just going to say, we can't work with this guy. Like, it can be the best producer in the world. If he's tough to manage, like, fuck him.
Yeah, this is true.
So what's like your proudest moment then in your career?
I think the release on Hawk Creations, honestly, because I was like 4 or 5 years ago, when the Hawk Creations was really hot, like when it was at its peak time of popularity, like that's when I wanted to be there, and it took me 4 years to get there.
Nice.
And then when I finally made it, I was like, yeah, this is it. You know?
Something else you want to ask?
Well, I did ask you, like, what's your craziest fan experience? But, like, what's the funniest experience you had, like, on a gig in general, not just one fan?
Somebody came to you, asked you, or they did something crazy, something.
Spilled water or alcohol over the deck or something like that.
I heard shitloads of weird stuff. Like, you meet really a lot of people who are messed up on gigs, especially on the after parties. Like, in the past, I was going on the after parties, but now I don't really go anymore. Even when the promoter tells me, like, do you want to go play? I'm like, no, I want to fucking sleep, you know? Especially if I have to play tomorrow again. I'm like, dude, I'm not 19 anymore. You know? Like, I can go sometimes if it's really special vibe and I'm in the mood. Sure, I'd go. But I avoid it. Because there's like shitloads of weird stuff. One time there was a guy on one festival, I was playing in 6 a.m. That was my set time. It was like 48 hours non-stop music. I think it was in Colombia. Yeah, it was in Colombia. People are so crazy there. Like, the whole South America is insane completely. And I love them. The thing is, they're really similar to the people from the Balkans as well, because they really like to get wasted. Like, really, on the weekends, they don't know their own name, you know. So the thing is, I like them, but there's always, you know, people who go over the line, and they're like, they don't even know what are they doing, you know. They're literally moving like this. You just need to watch. Are they gonna fall on everything and fuck up your whole set, you know? So you have to think about everything. And there was one dude who came in the middle of my set, because back then I was playing on my laptop and with my sound card. He was literally, there was like 10,000 people in front of me, open air. Yeah. And he just came and he wanted to hug me, and he gave his hands to me, and he literally started falling slowly on the right side where my sound card was. And with his elbow, he literally smashed my sound card. Not really like completely smashed, but like the cables fell out immediately. God. And everything stopped, like, boom, it's done. So 10,000 people started yelling my name, like, and started literally swearing me, like, Reblok, pendejo, cabron. It was like, yeah, and I was like, fuck you all, you know, it's not my fault. This fucking dude just fall. And what happened next was, I was like, and that fucking anxiety and that moment that started like in my head, 6 a.m. I haven't slept all night, and I started like 15 minutes into my set, and this guy fucks up everything. And I'm like, fine. I just put the cables back. I turn on my laptop. What happens next? My fucking laptop doesn't work. And then I was like, what the fuck did happen now? Like, and then the other dude who needed to play from 8 a.m., I told him, can you please jump in? Like, my shit is not working. Like, and he just started, and he started playing his stuff. And then some other guy from Ukraine, his name is Konstantin Yoja, he came and he told me, like, dude, just take the USB, put in my laptop, and just finish it, you know? I will borrow you. He was the only guy who actually told me, like, here you go, just finish your set and that's it. So I done it. It's one of the worst experiences ever, but there was also in Colombia, there was like really, really fucked up one moment when a guy comes with a gun to you and he's like, I want this fucking track played.
We know that.
Yeah. And he's like, but you know what's the funniest part? When I came there was people who waited me on the airport in a Jeep with rifles, and they were my security.
Wow.
Yeah, and they were literally following me everywhere when I would go out of the hotel or in the club. So they were standing with rifles in front of that pult where I was playing. They are like security. That was in Medellin.
Wow.
So what happened next was the guy comes with a gun, and that guy with the rifle looks at him and he's like, just move away. And he was like, no, I'm not moving anywhere. I want one track played. And then I was like, I don't have that track. And he was like, I have it on the USB. Like, here you go. And I'm like, do I really have to do this? And then the promoter came and he was just like this, like, do it. And then I played in that one track. It was the track from Pashanga Boys, Time. If you know the track, I mean, it's the Mexican guys. So anyway, I played that one track, and that guy came back and he gave me $300 on my mixer. He just left them, turned around and leave. He never came back. And I was like, what the fuck is happening?
You know, people always forget how heavy it is to play a set of 2 or 3 hours, you know. That's why you need to rest, to take care of you, because people still thinking that DJing is very easy, but performing on a kind of level, it's not. Your playlist playing, you have to take care of them. It's very difficult, you know.
You cannot go with the same like energy if you gig 8 times a month or 10 or 12. You become a machine. You don't really enjoy it anymore. Like, you can pretend you are, but you're not. It's like all faking, honestly. That's how I see it. I mean, but people overdo it because after 4 or 5 years, their manager squeeze them and they want to milk them as much as they can, as long as they're popular. But when that popularity is gone, they're not going to be booked as much as they were 2-3 years ago in their peak time. So everybody wants to squeeze them as much as they can. And also the DJs, they want to earn as much as they can, because you basically, when someone earns for like, let's say 5 years, you earn 400,000 euros, let's say number. And you earn that much, you need to split that or invest smartly, and that's going to serve you until the rest of your life. If you don't do it smartly, you're fucked. Because you don't know anything else to do. You know, you need literally to invest in something completely different, some completely different business or some real estate or literally whatever, just so you can survive, because you're not going to be popular forever. And that's what people don't understand. And they're like, oh, look at this dude here, 3,000 euros for 2 hours. Dude, it's not 2 hours. It's for the past 15 years. He's been grinding like crazy, not sleeping. You know, people don't see that. People see what they want to see. And that's, you know.
Yeah,
there's so much to it.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, that's all of our questions.
That's all, man.
Thank you for your time again, man.
Thank you, man. Really had a great time. Really amazing.
This.
Yes, really enjoyed this.
And hopefully...
Thanks for the interview.
No problem. Hopefully we'll see each other again. And
very soon.
You know, after this corona, we'd love to host you in Turkey as well.
Yes, it will be amazing.
Time.
Yes.
Well, that would be nice. I've never been to Turkey, actually.
You never been to Istanbul?
We'll show you.
No, never, never.
You 100%, you're gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
He knows the best party places.
You're gonna love it. You hang around with me, you're gonna love it. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining us, man.
Thank you very much.
It was nice meeting you guys.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.